So I am Malaika Mose. I actually recently moved out here from Silicon Valley. My background is in software development, so I'm actually not a filmmaker. I can barely hold a camera steady. My interest in this topic comes from being a cinephile. So I love movies, I love watching them. And when I was younger, I was frustrated because I would read about these great movies that showed at film festivals, and then I couldn't get to the film festivals, and then I would wait for them to be distributed and maybe see them at my local Blockbuster or Videosmith or whatever video store that has now since shut down. You know, maybe they would show up, probably they wouldn't. And so I majored in electrical and computer engineering, and I had an interest in the internet, and I realized that with the internet, movies could be made available to people like me anywhere at any time. And so there was no need for me to now try and get to a film festival or hope and pray that a film would be picked up for distribution so that I could see it. I had a conversation back in 2007, an email conversation with the director of a movie called Premium. His name is Pete Chapman. And I was trying to see his film, and it wasn't showing theatrically where I was. And I decided then that I would write a book on how to distribute your film online, so that I would not have to go through that anymore. I've been researching this book, and a lot of what you see here is as a result of the research. I also run a blog called Beyond the Box Office, where I put a lot of the results of that research. I've been talking to filmmakers, to distribution consultants, to film festival programmers, and people at studios, so people in the industry, about this particular topic. So this is what I have. I'm going to start off by talking about my understanding of the old way of doing things and some of the possibilities afforded by the internet in terms of new ways of doing things when it comes to distributing your film. So that is pretty much what I'm going to cover today. And yeah, let's get started. So the picture that you see there is of Brian Newman. He is a consultant. He used to be CEO of Tribeca Film Institute. And right now he works as an independent consultant. And he kind of breaks down the old way of doing things, or the old world of distribution. Another distribution consultant who talks about this is Peter Broderick. So he says, you know, the filmmaker would, you'd play your film at a film festival, sell your film to distributors, or to a distributor. The distributor would give you an advance and a percentage of revenues. The distributor would then sell your film to the audience. The audience would pay for the film, and in so doing, give money to the distributor, money to the filmmaker, and money to investors. He says, however, this scenario you can find in the land of unicorns and fairies and pixie dust, because more often it was like maybe your film would get taken by a film festival, maybe it would get picked up by a distributor, and then the distributor would take rights to everything to show it everywhere forever. And then the distributor perhaps would give you an advance, and that's the kind of range he put there, 0 to 15K, and a percentage of revenues, around 30 to 60% after expenses. Maybe the distributor would sell it to audiences, and if theaters booked or bought it, the audience would then pay for the film, and in so doing give money to the distributor, to the filmmaker, and to investors. Except after expenses like print and advertising, marketing, delivery, cross-collateralization, staffing, and various and sundry fees, there weren't any revenues left. So money would go to the distributor, but as far as the filmmaker and the investors were concerned, not so much. So in general, if you got an advance, that was great, but very often you didn't get anything after that. in terms of percentage of revenue. So this is a filmmaker that I spoke to. She's actually the producer of a film that showed at Sundance in 2009 called Children of Invention. So great film. And she and the director did some really interesting things when it came to distribution. And so she was talking about the frustrations that filmmakers have, you know, dealing with distributors. Sometimes they would acquire a film and they would just sit on it. And because they had all of the rights forever, you as a filmmaker couldn't do anything to help people see your film, and definitely not to make any money off of it. So change, however, is coming. It's here. We see a shift in how people are watching content in general. When it comes to, we're finding this in television with the advent of DVRs. People are watching content when they want to watch it. Also, things are being made available online, so people are choosing whether or not they want to watch something on their television or they want to watch it online. I personally, I'm a cord cutter now, so I don't have cable, but when I did, I had a DVR, and there were particular nights when multiple shows that I wanted to watch would come on, and my DVR could only record 2 shows at a time. So I had those 2 shows, and then I would try and watch the other one online. A lot of people are like this now. They don't want to set their schedule around a show. They want to watch the show and they want to watch it and go on and do their thing. We're finding this now in theaters and when it comes to movies. This actually just came out today. So we won't talk about when I prepared these charts, but this came out today. So this, what I've circled here, shows the percentage in March of this year of real-time entertainment. So when it comes to the amount of internet traffic that has happened, almost 50% of it is due to real-time entertainment, and that is mostly due to video streaming. And interestingly enough, Netflix takes the lion's share of that. So we're not talking about Netflix DVDs, right? We're talking about their watch now, their watch instantly. Okay, so they are taking the lion's share of that. So it shows us that people do want to watch content online. And because it's Netflix, we know that, you know, they're not watching like cat videos or something. Like they're watching actual content. And we also have fewer theater goers. This, again, came out today. It was on the wrap.com, and they talked about the fact that kids are leaving the multiplex. And this shows, what I've circled here shows the percentage of 12 to 24-year-olds who have market share, movie-going market share. So in 1975, it used to be 60%. And now in 2010, it's only 32%. So that is steadily falling. And it's not necessarily being made up in mass by the other age groups. So we're seeing, you know, fewer theater goers, and we're seeing more people watching things online. So these are kind of my personal thoughts on why people want to watch things online. They have a need for instant gratification. The internet gives us things now. And so people don't want to wait to watch something. So they will, I don't think that necessarily people are bad so that they want to pirate content. They just want access to it. And a lot of times if they can't find access to it when they want to, then they will, you know, resort to that. And then people don't want to be constrained. Like I said, people want to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch it. So I've talked about the old way. I've talked about how things are changing. So now that things are changing, what does that say for the film festival? What does the film festival, when we revisit that, what does it look like now? We find that more and more film festivals are showing a lot of their content or some of their content online. So major ones like Tribeca which had their online film festival. They started that last year. They expanded the offerings this year, and the experience was a lot better. They really try to encourage people to interact with the filmmakers as much as they can through chats and trying to make it social. And then we have Sundance Film Festival as well that showed a portion of their content online. So now we see film festivals putting some of the content online. So people who have shorts, for instance, who are showing at Tribeca, you know, you're constrained by the number of people that can fit into a theater. Now you have many more eyes on your content because it's online. And it's not only the big film festivals, smaller film festivals as well. This is the Stortford Film Festival, and what they've done is created a competition to draw eyes to the content. So now you have people voting on kind of an audience choice award for submissions. And then you have sites like Vimeo, which is, you know, for it's a video site, and they are having their own film festivals. And again, people can vote, and they also have kind of an offline part of it as well. So that's what film festivals are looking like now. There are other reasons to do the circuit. So now you're not doing the film festival circuit necessarily to get your film picked up. It might, but the chances are very slim. So these are some other reasons to do it. So I'm definitely not saying, you know, don't do film festivals at all. There's definitely prestige attached to getting into a film festival. There's a lot of publicity that happens around film festivals as well. And so I would say when publicity around your independent film is at its peak, maybe when it's showing at a film festival, that would be the best time to make it available to people rather than wait until, you know, it's quiet and nobody remembers it, and now you're struggling to get people to look at your film. Capitalize on that buzz and make it available to people. Sometimes it is a prerequisite to distribution. There are some companies that, you know, won't work with you if you cannot get your film into a film festival. It's kind of how they make sure that you're serious, and it's good. It's another way to network and share. So a lot of the filmmakers that I spoke to said they liked doing the film festival circuit because they got to talk to a lot of filmmakers about what to do and what not to do, which distributors to avoid, for instance. So they were able to kind of network in that way. It's a good way to build your brand, obviously. Anytime you go out, you're representing yourself as a filmmaker. And finding your audience. Now this one I thought was kind of interesting. Hopefully when you are coming up with your film, you have an idea about the kind of people that might want to see it, whether that's you know, ethnicity or age, or people who like a particular genre like horror or sci-fi. Sometimes by going to a film festival though, you might have these preconceived notions about who might be interested in your film. You go to a film festival and you find out that maybe those notions weren't altogether right. Maybe they were too broad, maybe they were too narrow. And here's an example. This is the director of Children of Invention talking about finding audiences at the film festival. So Children of Invention has a primarily Asian cast. So they figured that Asian Americans would be interested in it, and people who are interested in indie film. When they did the film festival circuit, they found out that it was a lot broader than they originally thought. Lots of people with families could relate to this film, and once you see it, you'll see why. You can see it on YouTube, by the way. A lot of people with families found that the story resonated with them. So they were able to take that information that they got from doing the film festival circuit and work that into their marketing and promotion later on. So these are some of the new ways that you can look at using the film festival. All right. Other new ways. What do short films now look like when we revisit the short film? I think a lot of times short films were kind of your calling card, and hopefully you get someone interested in your work and give you a chance to do a feature-length film, get some investors and do a feature-length film. This film, The Thomas Beale Cipher, was done by Thomas Allen. He has a website called Short of the Week. So he curates shorts from the web. So shorts that have been put on the web by their filmmakers, he kind of brings together the best ones and he puts them on his website, Short of the Week. Now he was ready to distribute his own film and felt a little guilty about not wanting to put it online. And so he ended up doing both the festival circuit and putting it online. And he had some really interesting numbers that came out of that. So when he looked at, he kind of gathered all this information. When he looked at the number of views that he got from festivals, 3,000, again, you're constrained by the capacity of a theater. When he put it online, he got 170,000. You can see the difference in media impressions. The cost, you have film festival submission fees, right? So the cost was $1,200. Online, it didn't cost him anything to put it online. He got no industry interest when he did the festival circuit, and he got industry interest when he put it online. Again, no distributor interest. When he put it online, he did get distributor interest. So sometimes putting your film, again, it has to be good, online can lead to distribution. So, you know, this is what he says. He was taking calls from studio execs, production houses, other people interested in collaborating on future projects because he put his film online. And this is kind of what he has to say about short films in general and putting them online. When we look at, again, kind of in this new way and the impact that the internet has had, we see also the short film being reincarnated as web series. Some people choose not to do a short film as their calling card. They decide to do episodic content. And they use this to gain fans and to gain audiences. And in this case, this is called the 12 Steps to Recovery. It's a web series. It's available on Blip TV and on YouTube. And the filmmaker's name is Tony Clomax, and he's been putting this out over the course of several months now. It's still not done, but the episodes continue to come out. And now, kind of while he was putting them on YouTube, Verizon Fios approached him, and now it's available on Verizon Fios network. So again, kind of different ways of getting into a more traditional deal, but in an untraditional way or non-traditional way. So we've talked about what the impact has been on film festivals, different ways to look at film festivals, how film festivals have been kind of reinventing themselves. We've looked at short films and what that looks like now. Maybe they'll stay as short films, you put them online, it might lead to distribution. You might reinvent it as a web series to gain followers. And so now we look at full-length feature films. Some people choose to give it away. So I don't know, how many of you are familiar with the Yes Men? Oh, yes. Right, okay, so the Yes Men fixed the world. They had a peer-to-peer edition that they put out on Vodo that's powered by BitTorrent, which is a peer file sharing network, peer-to-peer file sharing network. And they decided to go on ahead and distribute their film for free on Vodo. So they put it up, you download it, and then they invite you to donate money to their film. So that's kind of one way. There's another film that is being released on Vodo, more recently called The Tunnel, and they are actually trying to sell single frames of their film. So different people are doing different things, and I know that there has been studio interest in distributing films through BitTorrent. They want to leverage people's natural inclination to share things. And so they're looking at peer-to-peer. Sharing is one of those ways. So now here's a personal story. I'll give you kind of a teaser. So I did watch the Yes Men for free on Vodo. I was familiar with their work, hearing about them on the news, and I heard about the film. I knew it was available there, and so I decided to watch the film for free. And after the film, I went to the website, and 30 minutes later, I did not have $75. $75 had gone to the Yes Men, and what happened? I will tell you this, I did not buy some super cool version of the film that cost it wasn't like some extras, you know, feature-packed version of the film that cost $75. So I did not do that, nor did I donate to them. But somehow I ended up with $75 out of my pocket. So your homework is to go to beyondtheboxoffice.com and do a search for Yes Men and see how that happened. But the point being is that you can make money by giving things away for free. Here's another example. This is Sita Sings the Blues. This is an animated film put out by Nina Paley. That's her in the upper right-hand corner there. And she ran into some copyright issues when she was trying to make her film and ended up having to give it away for free. She, however, is able to make money. Well, this experience encouraged her to be kind of a copyright activist or a copyleft activist. So she's kind of against that whole notion of copyright. And her philosophy is that the content is free, but the container isn't. So she makes it available for free online, but if you want the DVD, you pay for it. If you'd like a table book with pictures from it, you pay for it. And she has an entire store. And she is able to, you know, live, I guess, fairly comfortably just on the merchandise for the film and then doing speaking engagements. So people are finding other ways to make money from their films besides selling the films themselves. So that's one way of doing things. This is Thomas Allen again talking about giving something away. And this is definitely the case in the software industry. We sometimes have community editions of software. We give it away for free so that we can gain, I guess, an audience or users, people who are familiar with the software, and then we can release software that has more features and hopefully people will pay for it. So you'll see that with many different websites, for instance, that might have a free version and they have a paid version. So now he's talking about filmmakers now using this, giving away something for free, building their audience so that people are familiar with their work and they become fans and want to support them in their next endeavor. Musicians have been doing this as well. So we're seeing this kind of shift in the way people are thinking about making their content available to people. So that's kind of another new way. So Abel Raises Cain. This is a film put out by Jenny Abel. It's a documentary about her father, who was a prankster back in the day, back in the 70s. Alan Abel used to create news, fake news, so like before the Yes Men. And so she wanted to create a documentary about him. And so what she has done is made her film available in a number of places. So it's available on Amazon and Netflix and streaming on indieflix.com, and I'll talk a little bit about them later, on Amazon and on Hulu. In addition to that, she's also selling merchandise on her storefront. So she's kind of doing both. She's getting paid through the streams and through the rentals, and then encouraging people to purchase the DVD on a storefront, and selling other related merchandise. So again, this is kind of what the new way is looking like. Now we'll talk about mobile distribution. So what I've covered so far is really sort of focused on looking at it on a PC, maybe. And so we'll look at people now focusing on distributing, making their films available on mobile devices as well. This was a film, Rage, put out by Sally Potter. It premiered at the Berlin Film Festival a few years back. And this was especially made for mobile phones, and not iPhones, like, you know, ones with smaller screens. And she did it through Babblegum. They have a mobile version of their site, and they have a mobile app. And the story is made, it's episodic, and it's made for mobile devices. This one on the right-hand side is the Broken Hearts Club, and this is a mobile app for iPhone. And what the filmmaker has done here is basically packaged his film as an app. So you go to the App Store, you download the app, and then you can watch the film, and you can get extras, and you can find out other things about the film. The reason you might want to do an app, and I'll talk a little bit about it later, the reason you might want to do an app is if you can't get your film into iTunes. Unlike for musicians, filmmakers have it a little harder when it comes to iTunes, because they only deal with aggregators. So they have, you know, special sets of companies that they deal with to get their content. So you as an indie filmmaker can't just go up to Apple and say, here, I'm submitting my film to you. So one way around that is to package it as an app, and you're very likely to get through. And then people can download it as an app, and you can package other things into it as well, and take advantage of the fact that it's a smartphone, kind of utilize some of the other features to create a really interesting experience for people. So that's mobile. Perhaps you've heard that Warner Brothers is really doing some interesting things. They have released app versions of Harry Potter, of The Dark Knight, and of Inception. Here's an example. This is the Inception app. And so what they've done, rather than having people pay up front for the app, they made it free. And I think when people started doing this first, it was to get around Apple's, you know, Apple takes 30% of the price, right? And so I think what people had started doing was they would have their app be free, and then you would unlock it, and they would have in-app purchases. Now that has since been changed, so Apple will take a percentage of everything. So if you charge people up front, then they'll take 30%. If you make in-app purchases, they will take 30% of any in-app purchases. But I think that's why people had started doing that at first. But Inception, they have a free version, and you can kind of have a sample, a 5-minute preview of it, and then you're encouraged to unlock the rest. And I think they might charge as much as $30. They charge quite a bit. I think that's what I saw. I'm working on a blog post right now, and I think that's what I saw, either $20 or $30. But they also put a lot of stuff into it. They have film info, and you can stream it, you can download it, you can do all kinds of things. So that is mobile distribution. Facebook distribution. People are looking at distributing films on Facebook. These are two Warner Brothers examples, but the technology is available to independent filmmakers as well. How many people have heard of the fact that they were letting people, they were streaming their films on Facebook? Okay, so one person knew about that. So they started off with The Dark Knight. People could purchase the film with Facebook credits, but that's not necessarily the way you have to do it. They have since, I guess that was an overwhelming success because they've added 5 more titles, including Harry Potter. You see here, you can watch the movie, use your credits, and enjoy it. And well, I guess I'll ask you, what do you think is cool about streaming your film on Facebook?
Millions of followers.
Right. There are a lot of people on Facebook.
People share it on their wall.
Exactly, right?
I've noticed that a lot of these movie posters, they say Facebook, Twitter, oh yeah, and our website too.
Right, right. People start off with facebook.com/ whatever the name of the movie is. Yeah, people share things on Facebook. Everyone is there already. A lot of people, you're obviously always encouraged to create a Facebook fan page because fairly sure that whatever niche that your film is targeting is probably on Facebook, unless it's like people who hate the internet or people who hate social networks. Other than that, you're likely to find the people on Facebook because everyone is on there. It doesn't matter what age, everyone's on Facebook. So here it is, maybe you already have a Facebook fan page. They already are your fans, why not let them watch the film? Why not let them pay for the film? If they're really fans, they'll pay to watch it. So again, I thought this was great when I heard about it. I thought it was really interesting. And I talked to the company that made this happen for Warner Brothers. Their name is Million Eye. And you can read the interview on filmmakermagazine.com. So you just do a search for my name, it'll show up. And you can see how they went about doing this and when they're going to make it available for everyone. And they also, again, Million Eye also offers really good fan page integration. So the ability to sell products on Facebook through your fan page. They have a really good integrated system there. Okay, so now I've talked about the new way and what it looks like for short films and web series and film festivals and mobile distribution and Facebook and streaming. And now I'll talk a little bit about what you need to actually do it yourself. So video sites, I think that's fairly obvious. If you want to make your film available online, upload it to any number of video sites. There are so many. I know I'm missing some, but Vimeo, obviously, a lot of people like that. Blip TV, YouTube. I know YouTube has their screening room, and they're also experimenting with YouTube rentals. Snag Films for documentary films. There were just like a ton, and this is really a very, very short list. So in terms of getting your film out there, you have a number of options. And the good thing is some of these sites also are on mobile devices and are on connected televisions or set-top boxes. So you might be able to just put your film in one place and then have it available in a number of places. So definitely video sites. Has anyone done that? Has anyone uploaded their film? Maybe talk about it.
Put me on the spot, man. Well, there's a couple of them. We do, my friends and I, Jay and Jack, they do the Lost podcast, and we use Blip TV to distribute it onto through an iTunes feed, which is like where our primary audience was. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we basically uploaded it to like YouTube and Blip TV, and always in the video, you like have your website, and you have your Facebook fan page, and just from there you just get a whole bunch of people viewing. And I think the most important thing is you gotta just keep doing it and keep like putting up. In our case, keep putting up like new content.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely important, or else people will get bored and they'll forget about you. Okay. Anyone else? Has anyone else uploaded? No? Okay. So that's the first tool. The second tool, companies, Aggregator. Aggregator is a company that basically aggregates films and distributes them. Distributor is one. They were acquired by Indiegogo. Is anyone familiar with Indiegogo or Kickstarter?
Yes.
Okay. So those are crowdfunding platforms, and so Indiegogo wanted to get into distribution, so they acquired Distributor. When I spoke to Adam Chapnick of Distributor, they only were sending your film to iTunes and Amazon and Netflix and Hulu, I think. Now they've expanded that to the cable companies, so you can also get your film on video on demand. With them, they charge you a flat fee. It's somewhat sizable, again, to ensure that people who are serious. But it's not like you can't make your money back, for sure. You get to keep 100% of your revenues with them. So you pay that flat fee, and then you get to keep everything. So iTunes, you get to keep the whole 70%. You keep all of your rights, so you can put it there and you can put it wherever else you want. You submit it once for all the stores, and you can track sales. A lot of these, a lot of the newer options will allow you to track sales and see how you're doing. With some of the kind of old model distributors, there wasn't a lot of transparency, so you didn't know how your film was selling or what it was doing. So I think particularly the two that I feature here are really good about being transparent to filmmakers. And so, he says you can be profitable after just 185 iTunes sales.
If somebody just watches it on Netflix, do you actually get a piece of it every time somebody watches it?
So Netflix, I have heard, you do get a piece of it, but the piece is small. And Hulu is very, very, very small. My understanding is that iTunes is the most profitable so far. Yeah, out of these.
How's Amazon?
Well, iTunes, they're paying to see it. They're paying to see it on iTunes.
Well, yes, exactly.
And on Netflix, they're not paying a distinct price for that viewing.
Exactly. It's a subscription model, and they get kind of unlimited. Amazon is probably closer to iTunes because it's comparable in terms of a per view rental.
I'm just trying to learn all this. So you have to go to somebody like Aggregator to be able to get onto those?
To get onto iTunes, yes.
Yeah, or any of the other ones?
You can submit directly.
No, not to iTunes.
Not to iTunes.
No, not to iTunes.
Netflix, you can.
Netflix, when I spoke to, the people that I spoke to, they actually only worked with certain people as well. Amazon, I think, might be the same way. And Hulu, for sure, you won't be able to just submit it to them. The other sites that I talked about, you can submit away, but you do have to work with an aggregator.
So that's on the aggregator, they would distribute it to film that for you.
Right.
Okay. So they're kind of like the agent in between.
Sort of, yeah. They're sort of like the middleman. And I think these entities are probably a little more picky about the content that they want to share. So they have you work with aggregators. Another aggregator is New Video. I don't cover them here, but they're another one that people use. Another one is Cinetic. They're a distributor that focuses on digital distribution. Okay, another aggregator is IndieFlix. They will send your film to the same In addition, airlines, to Babblegum, Xbox 360. We're seeing a lot of gaming consoles now showing content, or they're connected to the internet and will show content. So, you know, if you have a film that, you know, targets gamers or that demographic, that's a great, it's great to target game consoles. And they'll, you know, they'll send it to hotels. So they don't have a flat fee. They do 70/30 after costs. They will help you with promotion. So distributor, they'll just put it up for you, and after that, you're on your own. IndieFlix will work with you a little more to help, you know, promote the film. And they also have their own site where they will stream the film as well. So if people go to IndieFlix to watch the film, then you're likely to get, you know, more bang for the buck there. So this IndieFlix, indieflix.com, distributor.com, 2 aggregators that you can work with. So if you want to target mobile devices, how many people here would be interested in targeting mobile devices, or wouldn't mind if they're film? Okay, because I know I've spoken to some filmmakers who you know, are not very keen on their film being seen on such a small screen. I think for a lot of people, the tablets seem to be a happy medium. You know, they're okay with tablets. If you are trying to target mobile devices, again, an aggregator, because, you know, you get to iTunes, and obviously if you're on iTunes, you're on all the iDevices, and Apple TV as well. Video sites that have a mobile version or app. So some of the video sites that I showed before, they have a mobile version. So that's another way to get to mobile devices. And if you want to get to mobile devices, you can work with an application developer, so a programmer, to create a mobile app for you, for your device. Especially if you don't want to go through an aggregator to get on iTunes, you just want to submit it to the App Store, then you work with an application developer. These are some mobile app sites. Again, way more. I was probably losing steam at the end of the presentation here, but there are way more that have mobile apps or sites. These are just a couple. So you can work with film app developers. So Stonehenge Productions, they specialize in film apps. That is what they do. That's all they do. They target iPhones and iPads and Android devices. And so they're actually the only one that I know of, company that specializes in film apps, you know, targeting indie films. You can also, so they did Broken Hearts Club, the one that I showed you earlier, and then Mars app, based out of Hong Kong, they did the Sita Sings the Blues iPhone app. And so they specialize in mobile apps in general. So they make games and, you know, make everything. But in addition, they made this film app. So you can go either way, right? You can work with someone who specializes in film apps, or you can work with someone who specializes in mobile apps, and then you can talk about what you want your particular app to do. Or you can just work with freelancers. So Elance is a great place to find all kinds of people to do all kinds of things, including create an app for you. Guru is something like Elance. Just Google mobile app developers. You'll see a long list. Meetups are great. Tech meetups, your filmmakers, go to tech meetups and find out about technology and network with people, and you can find people to help you. Also, you know, social networks are a good place to go to find people as well. Sometimes, again, this, you know, when you give away something and you get fans, I mean, wouldn't it be great to have a fan who is a software developer who loves your film so much that they want to help you, you know, create an app for it? And these things happen. There was a movie that came out a while back called Four-Eyed Monsters that Brian Charles is the name of the developer who created this site that allowed people to demand the film in their city. And he saw the film and he liked it and he just offered his services. So these things happen.
So in the future, a lot of the film festivals, instead of going, they're all going to be on mobile. So
I mean, it's possible.
check out my movie. Go to take out his pocket. So I mean, this is blowing my mind because we're so used to. I mean, I've come from an era of just TV with antennas and movie theaters.
Right. But I mean, that's not so bad, right? Like, check out my movie, here it is. Oh, you can buy it. Here, let me transfer it to you right now. I mean, I think that's all good. Sweeps is a local company where you can hire college students to do a bunch of different things. They'll paint and they'll buy groceries, but they'll also do technology consulting. So you can, work with local colleges and, students who might be looking to get some extra credit or work on a project. These are ways that you can get people to help you out on your projects. Is anyone familiar with the term transmedia? So this is this concept of telling a story across a number of platforms. And so I was at a conference recently, cross-media storytelling conference. And the question came up, how do you find out about people who can help you on these things? Because a lot of times transmedia storytelling will happen in the form of a mobile app, in the form of a game, an augmented reality game that might be on a mobile device. It might, happen online. There might be a website. There might be a blog that tells, a part of the story. And so the question came, well, I'm a filmmaker. I don't do all that. How am I going to find someone to help me tell, my story across multiple platforms? And the same thing applies. You can go to any of these places to find people to help you. Or you can try and learn it yourself. Facebook apps for film. So, we talked about mobile, so now we're talking about how to get your film distributed on Facebook. This Flick launch is very new. I think the press release just came out either this week or last week, actually last week. And so they are trying to get you to kind of launch and show your film on your Facebook fan pages. Millioneye is the company that I talked about before that helped Warner Brothers get their film on Facebook. Distrify is another company that will let you stream your film on Facebook. And I'll talk more about Distrify later, so I won't get too much into it, but these are some apps that will allow you to distribute your film on Facebook. So obviously, go ahead.
And these are with a charge associated with it. In other words, if I want to see it on Facebook, I have to use Facebook credits to buy it.
You don't have to use Facebook credits.
But
Warner
you can
Brothers.
set it up so that it's required.
Right, exactly. So you can use Facebook credits, or you can use, real money.
I can put it on YouTube and have it come over my wall on Facebook. I mean, it comes out and it's for free.
Yes, that's true.
I mean, I do that now.
Yeah. So this is a way to monetize it. Okay, now these are my favorite, my personal favorite. The Embeddable player, Distrify and Dynamo are two embeddable players. Just like YouTube is a player and Vimeo has a player that you can embed on a blog or on a website. Distrify and Dynamo are also players that you can embed, but they have the monetization built into it. So whereas with Vimeo, maybe the way you'll make money is by having ads pop up, or maybe you'll have ads at the beginning, ads at the end. That's pretty much the way you'll monetize it. Distrify and Dynamo will allow someone to, they'll hit play, and before they can watch it, they have to make a payment, a micropayment. And so, what do I have next? Here's an example. Yeah, they use PayPal or they use Amazon payments. This is Dynamo. You see $1.99 for this. This is a short film that someone is charging people to watch on Facebook. And he's actually been able to get it on Facebook. And he's using Dynamo. This is Chris Jones. He has a great blog, and he's written a book as well. Definitely a great blog to follow. And he talks about his experience using Dynamo. He compares it to iTunes. But again, I really like this because they're embeddable. If someone is talking about your film, maybe a blog is covering it, they can embed the film right there and charge for it. And maybe you give them a percentage for sharing the film, but you also get your money right there. So if you get a lot of buzz and a lot of blogs are covering it, and it can be embedded anywhere, and the monetization goes where the player goes. So again, I really like this. Distrify, same kind of thing. They do have a formal Facebook app so that you can essentially take the player, embed it on your Facebook page. When people go to click, they pay, they watch the rest of the film. It's also available on mobile devices, you know, pretty much anywhere. So again, this is my personal favorite.
Is this a 70-30 split?
They also do a 70-30 split. Yep. Yeah, good question. They also do, both of them do a 70-30 split. But look at their website. Distrify, depending on the size of your library, they charge differently. So some will have like a monthly fee if you have like a huge collection of films that you want to show. But for, you know, for 1 and 2 films, it's a 70-30 split.
So you're saying that you get a chance to watch a little of it first to decide, yeah, I want to continue and watch it?
I think that's an option that you can set. Do you want people to be able to see a little bit of it and then buy? Or do you want them to just buy it up front? How long do you want them to have access to it? Like Chris Jones, right here, he has it for 3 days. I just tried it today and it was 7 days. You know, you can decide how long people have access to watch the film.
This Kindle lets you download maybe the first chapter or 2 of a book, and you're reading it and you're thinking, this is great, I want to buy it, or this is terrible, I'm not spending the money.
Right.
Sounds like a good idea.
So my last one is getting 2 TVs because, you know, despite the fact that people want to watch content, you know, where they want to, how they want to, if they're traveling, and, you know, however, we do like to sit in front of the television sometimes and watch a film. And so, again, if you want to do like traditional VOD, an aggregator is the way to go. Another option is connected TV apps for what is called over-the-top, so kind of outside of cable. Connected TVs, people familiar with those? That's like the Samsung smart TVs that are connected to the internet. So a lot of televisions that are coming out now are connected to the internet. And so they have, you know, things like Yahoo widgets and weather information and all different kinds of apps available. And you can either use connected television apps to get your film onto a television, or you can use a set-top box. So STB is set-top box there. So an example of a set-top box is Roku. That's the one that I use. They start at about, I think, like $60. You can get one between 60 and $100. And Netflix has an app on there. It was known as the Netflix box at first because you could, for people who wanted to stream Netflix films to their television, they used Roku at first. LG makes connected televisions, Google TV, we've heard of. They have a set-top box as well as a television.
And it can also get Netflix.
Which one?
LG.
Yeah, you can get Netflix on just about every TV now.
Right.
That's out there.
I think so.
I think so.
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so. It's moving very fast.
Boxy is another. They have come out with a set-top box. At first, they were just a website and they had indie films. Now they do have a box that you can use. Vizio, Apple TV, Pop Box is another set-top box. So there are a number of set-top boxes. Roku is the most popular one. And so if you only have one film, then what you want to do is try and get your film onto a channel or an app that is on one of these platforms. So Big Star is an example. They have a lot of indie films. You try and submit it there, and your film is then available on, your content is then available on Roku, LG, all of these other various and sundry platforms. Yahoo Connected TV, those are the platforms for that, Samsung, Sony. Those ship with internet connected devices. And earlier this year, they opened up their development kit, their software development kit, so that other people can create their own widgets. And so if you can, again, get your film into one of those, then it's available on these devices. Inmu.com, that's another indie film kind of focused channel on Roku. Vimeo, like I said, if you get it on Vimeo, then it's on all of these.
All of these are free distribution. There's no monetization involved.
Well, some of them, so
Maybe
like Big
ads with
Star,
Vimeo.
right. So Big Star, for example, they do a subscription. So the one thing that I don't know is how you, the filmmaker, make your money. Is it per view? I'm not sure. That's definitely something to check out. But I know they're subscription based, and then some of them are free. So the question is, how does that monetization work? So that's kind of the whole thing. Just a couple of parting thoughts. I don't know, maybe it was a lot, maybe not. But we kind of went through the old way, and we looked at, the new way, and new ways. Yes, many new ways. And what I try to do is kind of give you examples of what filmmakers are actually doing, and then what tools are available to enable you to do that as well. One thing that I didn't cover too much is that you are still responsible for knowing who your audience is and knowing who would be interested in your film and driving them to where you've put your film once it's online. So just because you've put it up there doesn't mean that anyone's going to look at it. So you're still responsible for that. I know a lot of filmmakers who aren't really interested in doing promotion. Maybe they've been working on the film for so long they're tired of it and they want to move on to the next thing. There are some people who would say that that's your responsibility. I'm more of the ilk of do what you enjoy doing and outsource the rest. So find someone, if you're not into promoting it, then find someone who will, share your enthusiasm for the film and will help you, promote it. But ultimately, you probably do know the audience best. So that's one parting thought. The other one is, I didn't talk too much about rights. So depending on the distribution deal that you have, this might not even be possible. One thing at the very least is to try and keep your streaming video on demand rights. So you want to keep the rights to sell DVDs from your own, website at least. And then you want to keep rights to stream. that's how you'll be able to put it on Netflix and maybe put it on some other places as well. The aggregators that I talked about, rights aren't an issue there. You keep your rights, but it can get really tricky. So you want to work with a distribution consultant or someone who's really well versed in that to ensure that you're not stepping on toes. Because instead of people just giving away all of their rights to a single distributor, a lot of people are piecing up the distribution. That's what Minette Louie and Zichun did with Children of Invention. They waited for a really good VOD deal. In the meantime, they carved up the rights for foreign distribution, and they carved out a bit for streaming, and they kind of had this hybrid distribution approach, and that's what that's what a lot of people are doing.
But we don't have any of the old line distributors taking over this part of it as well. This is
Oh
really,
no, for sure they want to.
what are they doing?
If you let them.
Okay.
If you don't say that you want your
before the major
Yeah.
studios
Right.
Yeah.
They'll
Right.
buy people out. They'll buy some of these small companies out probably.
Yeah.
Paramount, Universal, all that.
Well, that's a few years down the line. Though.
right now things are definitely open, but I think always the first thing they're going to want is like as many rights as they can. So it's probably up to you to say, well, I'd like streaming video on demand, or else they'll just take all digital rights.
The Wild West of the new technology coming out.
That is that's exactly
New laws,
it.
new things, it's a different world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there's really no right way. There aren't any best practices or, this will for sure get you X, Y, Z. Everyone's trying different things, and we'll see kind of where it all falls out in the end. So it's kind of, in that way, it's good because you can experiment and you can have fun. It really is the Wild West. That is a term that people use a lot.
I just made that up.
Great minds. Thank you.
But yeah, there's definitely no right way. People are trying what works, and see what happens.
What's going to happen to movie theaters?
Movie theaters.
Wow.
Wow.
Blog.
I mean, they have these multiplexes that charge like $11 to go see a movie. What's going to happen to them?
Well, yeah, and now with some of the, I think DirecTV that has a premium VOD now where they're charging people $30 for first run. People are doing different things. Freakonomics did VOD and iTunes before they went to the theater. I think theaters are going to have to do something different.
Yeah.
They're really going to have
Do you
to.
think the companies would rather just shut the places down than lower prices?
I'm not sure.
Right now, they're fighting real hard. My last blog was the death of the movie theater, and it's a fight. They're going to, in my opinion, based on my research on VOD, which is what I'm into, is they're going to become the way of the old outdoor theaters, or they're going to have to just focus on your 3D and very, very, very large screen formatted movies.
7.2 surround sound.
That's what they're coming to.
Well, some people have suggested that they really focus on creating experiences that can't be had in the home.
And
So-
the 3D was a step in that direction.
Well, IMAX is like
Right.
that.
Right, but also I know there are some that are, serving wine and food. I remember there's a gentleman from Variance Films who was complaining about a film that they were putting out. I think it was a kung fu flick, and they wanted to work with a theater to have a demonstration before. And they weren't open to that. And I think that's probably the kinds of things that theaters are going to have to do, making an event out of it. And then you have people like Kevin Smith. I don't know if you've heard of what he's been doing with Red State. And I don't know that everyone can charge like $60 a ticket to see the film and hear him talk. But these are the kinds of things that I think theaters they're going to have to get creative. They're really going to have to focus on, what it is that they can offer, and they're going to have to be open-minded, or else I think, like you said, they are going to go the way of the drive-in theater.
Relativity in them, or at least talking. That was my last post. That was yesterday. That they're at least talking to each other.
Right.
Right now, it's like they got the guns and the knives out there in LA at each other's throats.
Yeah, it's
over the VOD.
Oh yeah, over the VOD.
Well, I mean, when movies first came around, they had Nickelodeons, and then they moved to theaters, but people weren't going to theaters, and then they start with vaudeville, so they mix vaudeville with theaters. So you'd have a vaudeville show, and then you have a movie, so I mean, it's still moving back in that direction.
Yeah, as you bring that up there, they were also talking about theaters showing, I think there's a blog post on the Tribeca Film website. They have a Future of Film blog, and someone was talking about the fact that, I don't remember which theater company it was, that showed the opera at the Met. And showing live baseball, I think, or so they're going to have to show different things.
They actually doing that in Cary.
Oh.
On Saturdays they show, I think it's at Park 16. They show the Metropolitan Opera.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So you can go in and sit there and watch it broadcast live from the Met.
Right. Right. So, yeah, I think they're trying. See what can work.
Otherwise, they go the way of the print media, which is going.
On the other hand, they still make vinyl records, and there's even a resurgence.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, they're not going to go away completely. Yeah,
They'll adapt.
They'll adapt, but it is a losing battle with all the technology that's out there now, where you can watch wherever you want.
I still like the theater.
Yeah, some people do.
Everyone always will, and there'll always be a market for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just won't be as big.
Any other? Let me see. What else do I have? Oh, a couple resources. There are way more than this, but I recommend reading Peter Broderick's website and the Springboard Media blog. That's Brian Newman's blog, and the Workbook Project is. I mean, it has an amazing amount of information on anything you could possibly want to know, and it's all creatives sharing information. So no one's trying to sell you anything, but they have a tremendous amount of information on there. So when you're looking for ways of doing things, totally go to the Workbook Project. One of the founders, Lance Weiler, is doing some amazing things. I'll leave it at that. All right, and so that's the website. That's me on Twitter. It's my email. Ask me a question on Quora. That's it. All right, thank you.